How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and today I'm going to be going over the top 5 strategy games that I'm looking forward to in 2017. They're not by any means the best ones, they're simply the ones I find most interesting, so it's going to be understandable if some obvious ones are not included here. Of course, you're always free to list your own favorites in the comment section below, but these are the ones that I'm personally looking forward to playing and will likely play on the channel if they get released in 2017. So with that out of the way, let's get started. The first game that I'm looking forward to is called Iron Harvest. What really drew me to Iron Harvest was its alternative history and art style. You have a very gritty diesel punk world here that is set post World War I, in which apparently a lot of these giant diesel mechs have taken over that seem to be the brainchild of Nikola Tesla. It's just something that we don't see all the time. We've seen a lot of World War II real-time strategy games, and we've seen a lot of like post-space or space real-time strategy games and medieval strategy games, but how many times have you actually seen an alternative history strategy game? That's really quite cool. Iron Harvest at the moment appears to feature a total of 4 different factions. 3 of them appear to be a standard sort of faction that are flavored towards like Central Europe, East Europe, and West Europe, and then the final one seems to be the Apocalypse faction that seems to be very intent on simply destroying humanity as a whole. I'm not really certain yet, as the details have not entirely surfaced, but that's what the current details are hinting at. Based on the screenshots and what information the Polish developers have released so far, the game is still quite early in its development cycle, so there's not any real footage to show for the game, aside from various screenshots that the developers have released, as well as concept art. But it has currently been characterized as being a real-time strategy version of XCOM set in the aforementioned time period. The release date on Iron Harvest is anything from certain. Currently, it's set for the last month of 2017, but it could obviously be delayed into 2018. In addition to being available on PC, it is also due to come out on PS4 and Xbox One, which might see a nice revival of perhaps more strategy-oriented titles on those consoles, as they generally, at the moment, don't have many of them. Strategy is largely the domain of the PC at the moment, and for good reason. You just don't have the same sort of control with a controller that you do with a mouse and keyboard. Number 4 is Urban Empire. Originally slated to be released late in 2016, Urban Empire has been pushed to a January 20th, 2017 release date. It is a strategy city builder game that focuses a little bit more on politics than your average city builder. If you're familiar with games like City Skylines, do not expect this to be a copy of that, as this one, you do not actually place down things like roads or the power. You simply district out areas, and then your engineers decide what's going to be built there. The game also guarantees that your ability to snowball towards victory, like in many city builders, is not quite as certain, given the fact that you are simply an elected official and your decisions depend largely on you placating your keys to power, and so you can be removed if you do not keep them happy. The developer behind Urban Empire already has several other simulation games in their pocket, such as democracies, so it's quite likely that they know what they're doing in terms of creating a voting system, but it'll be interesting to see how exactly that can be tied into a more traditional city builder sort of framework. Number 3 is Oxygen Not Included. Oxygen Not Included is a bit of a base management game being developed by Klee Entertainment. You will probably recognize them for their games such as Don't Starve or Mark of the Ninja. They have a very good reputation among their customers, and I hope that they can do this one justice as well. In Oxygen Not Included, you are in a sort of a space station base, and you have to monitor the levels of just about anything. And one of the most dynamic aspects of the game, which it's named after, is monitoring oxygen levels in various chambers. If you run out of oxygen, you can very well die. From what has been demoed so far, it looks fairly competent, and it has a very unique art style, as Klee manages to do with most of the games they release. This is definitely one to keep an eye on, and while the game currently on Steam says it will be released when it's ready, the actual E3 trailer released about 6 months ago said that Klee Entertainment was looking at a late 2016, early 2017 release date. So in all likelihood, we should be seeing Oxygen Not Included released in either the first or second quarter of 2017. Number 2 is The Guild 3. This is a sequel to the Guild franchise. The most recent The Guild game before this was The Guild 2, released over 10 years ago now. The Guild 3 promises to be much more approachable towards new players to ease that initial very steep learning curve that was required, which is definitely welcome. I played a great deal of The Guild 2 back in mid-2016 and enjoyed it greatly. It largely focuses on you starting out as a sort of a lowly serf with nothing but some gold to your name, starting a business in a Renaissance-era European city and making money from there, growing your business and growing your dynasty as a whole. As your dynasty grows, you're going to want to actually move into the political offices and control the policies that directly affect your business monetarily. This can actually become quite cutthroat, as the various other factions in the game are doing the same, and they want control over those offices as well. So this, in a way, is another political simulation game, but at the same time, it has a large focus on actual economy. You're going to want to be building your businesses up from nothing and turning them into an industry that can bankroll your ascension to the highest office in the land. Originally, the Guild 3 was cited for a 2016 release, but it has been pushed back since then, and now we're currently looking at a first quarter 2017 release. So this is definitely a game that you'll be seeing early on in 2017, and definitely something I and you should be keeping an eye on. And finally, number 1, and this one might be a bit unexpected, we have a game called Kingdoms and Castles. It recently went over its funding goal on Fig by over 500%, raising over $75,000 of investment from the initial $15,000 that they solicited. Kingdoms and Castles derives its influence from settlement builder games such as Banished or castle building games such as Stronghold. You will be building your empire in a very vibrant and what looks to be a very voxel-based world. Kingdoms and Castles focuses on creating and building up a medieval European town and fending off attacks from Vikings and dragons, as well as making sure your citizens do not die during the various changes in season. There will be at least 2 seasons as are being demonstrated here, and obviously you're not going to be able to grow food crops during the winter months, so that should be quite exciting and definitely is a dynamic that we do not see in a whole lot of real-time strategy games that are set in this time period. The developers behind it have over 10 years of industry experience with titles such as Spore, and they have worked for companies such as EA, so you know that they are capable of getting it done more likely than not, and if anything, the investments made on the Fig platform for their game have spoken out about both consumer and investor confidence that this product can be shipped. At the moment, there is a trailer, but not much else. It has exceeded all of its stretch funding goals, and at the moment, it is due for a release in the second quarter of 2017. So those are the 5 strategy games that I'm looking forward to playing in 2017. Obviously, I have not included all of them, and probably some very popular choices have been omitted here, such as the latest Warhammer game. And while I do not find them interesting enough to cover, there are more than enough people who do. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these games in the comments below. Were there any surprises in here for you? I hope that you found something rather interesting to look forward to in the coming months. Otherwise, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.